Miranda was playfully being intimate with a man while 𝐂𝐿 sat on the sofa, watching them with envy. Suddenly, she transformed into a vampire, and when 𝐂𝐿 called her foolish, she stopped momentarily, commanding the man to sleep. Hands emerged from the bed to gently pull him down. As she stood, her gown mysteriously lifted itself, and she put it on. She moved closer to 𝐂𝐿, seducing him and suggesting they could use him, inviting him to bite her and claiming he was enticing. 𝐂𝐿 then transformed into a vampire and drank his blood. Afterward, he instructed her to clean up the scene and leave quickly. Not long after, the police arrived to find only the lifeless body in the room. Meanwhile, Jennifer was at home. Her friend, who works as a bartender, called to remind her about their meeting at the bar. When she met her friend, they began discussing her attraction to Ryan, but her friend reminded her that she was a professional dancer, so to focus on herself. On her way home, Jennifer was startled by a sudden shout from a woman, just as she was about to continue walking. 𝐂𝐿 appeared in front of her. He apologized, and after she accepted his excuse, he kissed her hand. But when she bent down to pick up her ice cream, he vanished, leaving her surprised as she continued on her way. Once home, Miranda approached 𝐂𝐿 and asked if he had any new opportunities, but he offered her about the blood bank, expressing her preference for something fresh. He advised her to be careful, and then she disappeared from in front of the window. Meanwhile, a man named Ted was working as a clerk at a blood bank, engrossed in a book about blood banks when Miranda approached him and began to seduce him. Before long, they were in a passionate encounter. Obsessed with her, she took control, suddenly transforming into a vampire and biting him mercilessly, draining his blood despite his struggles. Afterward, she brought the blood to 𝐂𝐿, who poured it like wine and savored the taste. They began discussing their future plans in Los Angeles, but when she invited him to join her, he declined. As she vanished, he started playing the piano. Suddenly, he heard music and looked outside to see Jennifer dancing seductively. After a while, she began to pleasure herself, unaware that he was watching closely. Once she finished, she sensed something unusual and rushed to the window, where she spotted a shadow moving through her neighbor's window. The next day, police discovered Ted's lifeless body and began their investigation. They learned he was a clerk at a blood bank and noted the strange disappearance of all blood types, along with the fact that the door was locked. At home, Jennifer shared the 𝐂𝐿 incident with her friend. Ryan arrived, intending to tell her about the murder. He mentioned he couldn't sleep, feeling overly alert, and confessed that he missed her, using this as an excuse to see her. They agreed to meet later, and she invited him over for a fancy dinner. He accepted and left after giving her a kiss. That night, Miranda returned and began dancing seductively, and also using her powers to turn on the music. Although 𝐂𝐿 initially resisted her advances, but he ultimately gave in, leading to a passionate encounter. Back at home, Miranda introduced a woman named Paige and invited her to join them. As Paige went to get drinks, Miranda told 𝐂𝐿 that Paige was a gift for him, but he showed no interest. Undeterred, Miranda started the music and danced with Paige, kissing and touching her seductively, which stirred 𝐂𝐿's desire. He soon found himself having sex with Paige, but when he transformed into a vampire, he couldn't bring himself to bite her and stopped. Taking advantage of the moment, Miranda continued kissing and having sex with Paige, who identified as a lesbian. Meanwhile, 𝐂𝐿 was lost in thought at the piano when Miranda asked him what was wrong. Confused, Paige questioned what was happening since she had no memory of anything. Frustrated, 𝐂𝐿 left and encountered Jennifer and Ryan, who were sharing a romantic moment. They kissed and became more intimate, unaware that 𝐂𝐿 was watching from a distance. Returning home, 𝐂𝐿 found Miranda and Paige asleep, so he began to play the piano. Unaware of 𝐂𝐿 watching them. Later that night, the haunting melody disturbed Jennifer, waking her up and drawing her to the window, where she admired the sound. The next day, Jennifer discussed her night and her relationship with Ryan with her friend, who advised her not to become too accustomed to it. Meanwhile, Ryan called the detective handling the blood bank case to check for any updates, but unfortunately, he received no helpful information. At work, Jennifer sensed someone nearby, and soon 𝐂𝐿 appeared. They began chatting about her job, with him complimenting her and getting closer. He started to touch her seductively and leaned in for a kiss, but just then, her friend arrived unexpectedly, startling them. As she began to introduce Galen, he vanished.
This is Galen.
Later at home, Ryan surprised Jennifer from behind. She asked how he got in, only to remember she had left the door open. Without wasting time, she began kissing him passionately. Caught up in the moment, they ended up having sex, while Galen watched from a distance. Afterward, Jennifer noticed a shadow on her neighbor's window and urged Ryan to leave. On his way, Ryan felt someone touching him from behind, but when he looked back, he was startled to see Galen standing in front of him. The next day, Jennifer received a flower gift, along with a note from Galen that read, "Never be afraid of her passion. I want to know you better." Her friend called him creepy. Later, as Jennifer was walking, Galen suddenly approached her and handed her a rose. When he tore it apart, she was confused. He then took her to a beautifully arranged location that surprised her. He invited her to dance, turned on the music, and began to touch her. As they danced, they started kissing, and Galen began to change into a vampire to bite her. However, it turned out to be just a daydream, and he woke up, telling Jennifer he would see her next time. At home, Galen revealed to Miranda that he was tired of his long existence over the past 100 years. Meanwhile, at the police station, Ryan suggested that the cases might be connected to vampires, but the detective dismissed the idea and sent him away. On another front, Jennifer was training for her seductive dance performance, satisfying herself while her friend watched. During their conversation, her friend suggested involving Galen in the show as well. Back at her home, Ryan surprised Jennifer, but she pushed him away and rushed to Galen's place. There she found Miranda setting up a romantic candlelit evening and explained that she was Galen's sister. They went out for drinks, while Ryan, annoyed, left a note on her door asking her to call him, but only to be burned. At the bar, Jennifer and Miranda were drinking and dancing closely when a man, attracted to them, joined in. Miranda kissed him and playfully bit his lip before immediately turning to kiss Jennifer passionately. This startled Jennifer, causing her to run outside to regain her composure. Miranda followed her, trying to comfort her. Despite Jennifer insisting that she wasn't that type of person and wasn't interested, Miranda seduced her with touches and kisses. Even as Jennifer mentioned wanting Galen, Miranda continued to kiss her all over, heightening her desire and suggested they go home to have sex. Once at home, they began kissing, but Galen suddenly appeared and interrupted them. Confronting him, Miranda stood her ground, determined to continue her encounter with Jennifer. In his room, Galen angrily broke things and argued with Miranda and told her he regretted turning her and saving her life. Meanwhile, Paige was awakened by the noise and approached Miranda and left bleeding. At Jennifer's home, Ryan arrived and asked about her night, but she became angry, thinking he was spying on her. He tried to warn her about the strange occurrences in the neighborhood and urged her to be careful. Annoyed, Jennifer accused him of being jealous and told him to leave. After a while of practicing her dance, Jennifer was surprised when Galen appeared. They quickly became intimate, sharing kisses that led to a passionate encounter. At the bar, Ryan was drinking when Miranda approached him. She took him home, and just as he was about to ask questions, she began kissing him and touching him inappropriately. He abruptly stopped her and tried to leave the wine she had given him, but when he looked back, he saw her in her pajamas at the door. Wasting no time, she continued kissing him, and they ended up having sex. As they were in the moment, she transformed into a vampire, which startled him. He rushed to escape, but she stopped him.
You will remember?
He fled, while she watched him from the window. Meanwhile, Jennifer was with Galen, also engaged in sex. The next morning, Galen hurried home as the rising sun began to burn his skin. Meanwhile, Galen was suffering from the pain of the sunburn, and Miranda offered to let him drink her blood by cutting herself. He hesitated, feeling guilty for turning her into a vampire, but she comforted him and urged him to drink, helping him heal. Even after healing, Galen continued to cry. Meanwhile, Jennifer was on stage, passionately performing the dance that Galen had prepared for her. As she finished, the audience erupted in applause. She rushed to Galen's house, calling out his name in fear, only to discover Paige's lifeless body. Startled, Jennifer encountered Miranda, and in her panic, she ran outside, only to be hit by a car and fell to the ground. Galen quickly arrived and was about to take her to the hospital in an ambulance. Unfortunately, en route, he expressed his love. He transformed into a vampire and bit her. After some time, Jennifer woke up at Galen's house, Confused about what had happened, he offered her a glass of blood, but Miranda insisted she needed hot blood to recover. This bewildered Jennifer, who was still grappling with her new identity as a vampire. Miranda explained her situation, and as she left, Galen explained that turning her was the only way to save her life. Feeling trapped and disoriented, Jennifer ran outside, rejecting her new identity. Miranda followed her, and as Jennifer saw the couple kissing, it intensified her confusion. Crying, Miranda approached her and revealed that she had been a vampire for 150 years, sharing her own experiences to convince Jennifer. She then presented a girl with her face covered, urging Jennifer to drink her blood. Terrified, Jennifer stopped, feeling guilty. Miranda encouraged her to embrace her nature and revealed that the girl was her own friend, and then she ordered her return to Galen. At the police station, Ryan's friend provided a sketch of the vampire's appearance. Ryan rushed to Jennifer's home but couldn't find her. His instincts led him to Galen's house, where he began searching. Inside, he found Jennifer sitting in a corner, crying, but when he tried to help her, Miranda intervened. In the chaos, Ryan stabbed Miranda with a sword, fatally killing her. Galen then confronted Ryan, delivering a powerful kick that left him on the brink of death. In his desperation, Ryan pleaded to be turned into a vampire to save his life. After hesitating, Miranda refused, and Galen revealed his love for her. In a tragic moment, he opened the curtains, exposing himself to the sun, which incinerated him, leaving only his skeleton behind. Eventually, it was revealed that Jennifer was approaching a person to prey upon, fully embracing her new life as a vampire, and the story concluded with this transformation. Did this story spook you out? Let us know in the comments below. For more horror movie recaps, subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next one. Fear awaits you.